agriculture, forestry and fishing, that whole sector will begin to reopen, because that now will include logging and forestry, as well as horticulture, the transport of livestock and animal auctions, of course under clear social distancing directions that will be issued. In manufacturing, there will be a further partial opening of the sectors. The sectors will not be open 100% during level 4 because we need to give firms an opportunity for a phased return to work. We need to begin to test the systems at factory gates, at work areas, in the canteens, in bathrooms, in the screening of workers, in transport, in arrangements for those who have the symptoms of COVID-19. And of course, also to progressively increase the number of people who are on the road, moving to work and moving from work. As a broad baseline, 20% of all manufacturing workers will begin to restart during level 4, but some subsectors of manufacturing will have a higher number of workers, a higher proportion of workers who will be able to return progressively to work. Still not to 100%, but to more than 20%. They include the following sectors: children's clothing and winter clothing. We know how important it is for families to be able to get warm clothing. Part of fighting the virus is to avoid the cold. Blanket manufacturing for a very similar reason, and other bedding and computers and mobile phones, so that we can enable more people to work from home. Some car manufacturing and the components that goes into cars. Some manufacturing of cement and other construction material, as well as hardware, because as construction starts, they will need the stocks of these basic raw materials that are required. And of course, stationary production, because we've got to begin to get ready for the return of workers to factories where they'll need stationery, and down the line also the arrangements involving higher education and schooling in general. So that covers manufacturing. If we look at the shops, and they are the retail stores, the wholesale stores, some additional opening of retail will take place in level 4. We recognize that shops are a big vector of transmission. When you go to the shop, there are greater opportunities, because you mix with so many people, for the virus to spread. So we really want to appeal that visits to the shops be as infrequent as possible, only go when it's really necessary, and keep it as short as possible, and we have to maintain social distance and adequate sanitation arrangement in the various shops. When I'm talking of retail, I'm of course not only talking of the large supermarkets. We also mean here the reference to informal trading and to spaza shops. The categories of retail sales that will be expanded include children's clothing, winter goods like winter clothes, blankets and heaters, stationery and educational books, tobacco products, and personal ICT equipment. Those are things like computers and mobile phones and other home office equipment.
All right, let's take a closer look at some of the regulations that have been eased as a result of level 4.
At best, a slightly watered down lockdown. No local or interprovincial travel will be allowed. Only the economy is being opened in stage 4 and not the floodgates for everybody.
The lockdown is still there. There'll just be a few changes. But what is important is that there will be more people and more companies opening up and more people going to work. That's basically the major change. The rest, more or less, remains the same.
South Africans leaving their homes can only do so to buy essentials and to attend funerals. Traveling between provinces is still off limits, and leisure activities are certainly not returning.
Visiting is still not allowed. You can not visit your friends, visit your neighbors, visit your relatives. That is still not allowed. Exercise will be allowed, but under very strict conditions. Things like gyms will remain closed. Organized sport or walking or jogging is not allowed. We will put very strict regulations under which exercise can be done.
Sporting events remain restricted under Level 4 regulations. The lockdown is essentially still in place with stringent measures to prevent more COVID-19 infections. Samkele Masego, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa